Welcome to episode 21 of the Wiley Wire. We're going to cover a lot of stuff today, starting with music. I haven't talked much about music on this podcast yet, and that was always something I wanted to talk about. I ran across some great video of Billy Corgan doing two separate interviews with the same person talking about the music industry. I just thought it was wild what he had to say. So we're going to cover that, as well as fraud in Los Angeles, cigarettes and dollars to vote. There's fake petitioners all over Skid Row, lining up fake signatures, lining up homeless people, and just completely taking advantage of them. We're also going to cover another sanctuary city death in Chicago. Absolutely terrible, horrific crime. We're going to do some sports coverage and our WTF. Welcome to the Wiley Wire.
Rock has been purposely dialed down in the culture.
When would you say that began? Mid-2000s?
Late 90s. I think the first, and again, this gets wizard behind the curtain, right? Somebody's going to say, well, how do you know, or who was the wizard behind the curtain? All I know is I saw the gravity shift, okay? If you were at MTV or around MTV, 1997, 98, suddenly they decided rock was out when rock was still very, very high up in the thing. And it was replaced by rap. They immediately changed the way their standards and practices immediately shifted. So now that things that weren't allowed were suddenly allowed, people were waving guns. Okay. So some people assert that the CIA was involved in all that, again, above my pay grade, but I saw it happen. I did witness it happen. Okay. And of course, great music came out of it. So it's not like it's not a barren wasteland where some.
Listening to that, it really just ties into all the thoughts I've had since, I'd say, the 2000s, and especially in the last 10 to 15 years, because there's been a yearning for rock to come back, and something suppressing it, no doubt about it. You can talk about so many angles of this, but the first angle I'm going to start with, let's take the Oasis tour. Oasis is a great band. Great music, their own sound, their own guitar, grassroots type of sound. Yeah, you can compare them to the Beatles, but you know it's Oasis when you hear it. You know the Beatles when you hear it. There is no, which one's that? You know right away. So those Beatles comparisons, yeah, obviously the Beatles influenced Oasis, but not to the point where they're copying their music. But I'm going on the lines of their tour. A want, a need for Oasis to come back. I went to one of the shows. It's one of the most successful tours in a long time. And didn't matter the age group. Smiles on everybody's faces, from dads down to young kids. I saw a father and son. He had to have been in his late 40s, early 50s with his teenage son. Came all the way in from Liverpool to see him in Chicago. And they were just blown away. And they're getting to watch them together. And not just to stick Oasis in there as an example of a successful tour. The only real successful tours for rock are the legends. It's all festivals now, and all the new bands are in festivals, and it's the same festival cluster. There's three major groups that own most of the festivals, and they pretty much keep the same lineup on. Some real good bands, too. It's because there's just this want for the older bands. You know, let's take the Smashing Pumpkins. That's one of my favorite bands. U2 is one of my favorite bands. I like the Killers. I can name a lot. Oasis, obviously. And they all sound different. They all at one point were grassroots rock. I see the Smashing Pumpkins and Oasis has never left grassroots rock. And their sound is just distinct. And when they go on tour, people want to see them so they can sell out tours. Now, I think Billy Corgan's band, Smashing Pumpkins, was, I think they were suppressed a little bit. That's just my opinion. Doesn't mean it's true. I just always felt that they could have continued and which they did, but just with more of a commercial push. I don't know if Billy Corgan wanted that, but he was always against the grain, against the commercial, which is a lot of the reason I respect him as a musician, where others went full commercial, and he doesn't name who he's talking about, and that's how Billy Corgan is. It doesn't seem like he throws people under the bus. Just a great little clip of that interview. But let's take U2, for example. They were grassroots, their own style of rock. I mean, you can go back to the 70s, some 80s rock, a lot of 80s rock, I should say, where the bands was their sound. Guns N' Roses, U2, you had like the two different bands all under the rock category. But look at U2, for example. Once that iPod came out and they did the Vertigo album, that was really commercially pushed. It was a good album, very good album, but that's when U2 touched like commercial push. And then it went on to the 360 tour, where the music was so digital and computerized, it just didn't feel natural. The lyrics are always great. Just the music just looked like it got so computerized. And then they had the corporate push behind them. And then they put their album on everybody's phone. That was a big mistake. And I think that's when U2 kind of, started to dwindle off. I know they put a new album out, but it's very computerized. I listened to it. And if you look at a band like Oasis, Smashing Pumpkins, not to say U2 can't do this still. They can, and I hope they do. But these 6 songs they put out one's got Ed Sheeran on it. I mean, no. And Billy Corgan and Smashing Pumpkins, no one sounds like them. No one sounds like Soundgarden. No one sounds like Pearl Jam. And I can name a lot more bands in the 90s that just sounded completely on their own wavelength of sound. It was just, did they take a few things from each other? That's what musicians do. But they always had it in their own kind of style. And what he's saying is very, very true. And I remember it happening too. A lot of these bands, Rage Against the Machine, they were like so anti-government machine and all that. They were just, hence the name. Their songs were hardcore. And the movements they had were pretty hardcore. And then you have Smashing Pumpkins had such a big following, got a little commercial success, not a lot, but when they won the Grammy Best Album and all that, it seems like they kind of got pushed out a little bit. I have no proof of why. I could kind of make my own analogy from listening to Billy Corgan's interviews. Door number 1, door number 2. Just throwing it out there. But all those bands, if you look at them now, they're all corporate. Pearl Jam was fighting against ticket prices and all that. They're unbelievable bands, but somewhere along the line, they kind of just went a direction that kind of rubbed their fans the wrong way. And yeah, they'll still go out and see him, but that's not the point. The point is they're not that band they were. And you can say like it's because they're young at that time and all that. But somewhere around the late 90s, things really changed. We got into the boy bands and we got into Backstreet Boys and all that stuff. And it was just push. In the rock band kind of went a different direction, kind of got thrown off the ship. And you have Guns N' Roses touring now and all these bands touring. They should have been touring back then. So much money to be made, but the commercial industry just pushed them out. And then I remember when Al Gore was the vice president and his wife, Tipper Gore, I think, was complaining about how some of the music is with, guns and violence. And she played a lot about the rap music. And rap music has a lot of good melodies and beats, and there's some great songs that came out of it. But it definitely was commercially pushed. Definitely. I mean, I remember, look at Snoop Dogg. He's a Corona guy. He's doing the Olympics. Ice Cube was on a CSI, whatever show. He's in forever. Ice-T was doing Guardian insurance commercials. These guys were NWA. Something happened around there. I'm just saying. That's my opinion. Something happened around there. And things got commercialized. Things got captured. And then there's a few artists like that came out and did their own recording studios, did their own record label, and they got crushed by the corporate giants. Not all of them. Obviously, Kanye West has done a lot with his own brand. He's put a lot of good music as well. But to Billy Corgan's point, in the clip, rock took a dent. And if you look at 2000s, all the bands kind of started to sound the same. And it was just kind of everything was, you couldn't tell if it was, certain bands sounded exactly the same. I don't want to name bands, but a lot of their music sounded exactly the same. And you really didn't know who it was. You had to look it up. And things got real commercialized. It got real computerized. It had no authenticity. It just seemed like it was the way the industry was going, and it got boring. And then the boy bands kind of swept in, and then the rap took off, and rock's back. It's got to be pushed by the record labels. There's a lot of great rock bands out, but they're all doing small festivals. They're all getting the 2 o'clock slot, 3 o'clock slot. And it's a different world now. Touring is what it's all about. And that's part of the reason too with the digital music. But even in the 90s though, music was still on CDs. Even up into 2000, I'd say people are still buying CDs. So rock was definitely pushed out, in my opinion. Let's roll the clip of Billy Corgan. I came across these and they were just wild. I had to put them on as just proof. I could just talk about what he said, but I'd rather have you hear it with your own ears. He talks about door number 1, door number 2. And I remember talking to my sister-in-law at one time. We're talking music and all the great bands. I'm like, why is there any new great bands for, my niece and nephew to listen to? They all want to hear the old bands. And you're getting such a young crowd with the old bands, but there's nothing that's gravitating the young crowd, that's rock. But rock is it's the foundation of America in my mind, from Elvis Presley all the way to, the Beatles when they came to America, the Beach Boys. A lot of people don't know they were rivals, Beach Boys and the Beatles. Obviously Elvis, James Brown, and you got it's a lot of different 70s rock. Things just came to a halt though in the 90s. It just kind of was done. Billy Corgan, he's explaining why this may be
elements of the U.S. government reach out to me because they somehow want to hook my influence, which is not that great, into whatever they're after. So having had personal experience of this, and of course there's lots of other
Right.
insinuations, and I certainly would say, sitting here quite openly, it seems very, very obvious to me that there are elements in popular music where people have been compromised knowingly
Right.
because they were offered kind of a Faustian bargain.
Right.
Pick door number one and we're going to push you to the moon.
Right.
Because in music, and this is certainly my area of expertise, there are people who are protected and
Right.
they get every benefit of that protection. And I know it because I know the game, because I've lived it. And there are other people where they decide to press a button and throw them off the ship.
Right.
Now, it might be because they're engaging in bad behavior, and we talked a little bit about that. But in other cases, I think just because they won't do the bidding that people want them to do. You can believe me or you can't.
Right.
But
I'd love to see the bands that picked door number one and were basically compromised throughout their careers. Everything's so new with social media and all that. You always see like a band, they'll put some like political post out. You're like, oh man, you didn't even figure out what happened yet. You're already putting out, the logo and all that. And you're like, oh, don't do that. You used to be the band that fought against the system and all that. And you're just like entering and doing what the system tells you to do. That was disappointing. But I'd love to see the bands that took the money or took the deal or whatever you want to call it. Because I could see the ones on the surface with no proof. But I definitely think Billy Corgan's right on this one. And I believe him 100%. Because I see with my own eyes what some of the bands do, some of the actions they take. And, I'm definitely a believer in what he's saying. But another thing I want to get into is a big debate. I kind of have some, belief in this. It's like everything's been done before. When that Greta Van Fleet band came out, I thought they sounded great. Guitarist is just phenomenal. And everyone just like, you're Led Zeppelin, you trying to be Led Zeppelin. I was like, these kids are cool. I don't care. They sound like Led Zeppelin, but they put on a great show. Good music, written well. That's a comparison you can make. Has everything been done before? If someone comes out with a bald head and has a extremely rare voice that's crackly, similar to Billy Corgan's, automatically the band's going to be claimed to be copying the Smashing Pumpkins. And maybe they are, or maybe they're not. I just think that there's still a lot of music to be made, and AI is a very interesting thing when you add it to music. Listeners that don't know me, I was in a cover band for about a year and a half. I was in a band around my college years. I've written a ton of songs, never really put them with bands. I never could find the right group of guys that had the same vision I liked or musical sound I wanted for the songs. And it's just nothing ever came together. A lot of bands just wanted to play cover because to get paid. And I never really was into the money. I was more into the making the music. And I have a bunch of songs I've written, and you can literally put them in AI now, put the whole lyric, put the whole song in, tell them what type of guitar you want, drums, the sound. And for somebody like me who doesn't have a band, it's fun to do. But I also think that if you put your ideas into AI, put the song into AI, you can still go into the garage, get the guys together, and you have similar samples of what the song came out in AI. Maybe that can strike some ideas for a better guitar riff or a different guitar riff or even a different lyric to add to the song. There's a lot of good that can come out of AI with music. I think that music can sound real computerized and almost too studio perfected, so it just doesn't have that feel, Like some of the great rock and roll albums, like the Foo Fighters, the one album, they basically filmed it in Dave Grohl's basement the whole time, they didn't go anywhere else. U2, did a lot of songs in this, like, I think it was a church or was it like some type of museum room that had great acoustics. Oasis's whole album was basically done on like a couple takes, or one of their songs was done on like 2 takes or 1 take, first take. Those are things that rock and roll needs to go back to. I think AI can ruin rock and roll if it's not used correctly, just like everything else. Yeah, but I can literally, I've done it before. I've made like 15 songs where you can put your voice, sing the song a cappella, and then throw it in, and then the guitar will come on. It sounds really good. It sounds great, actually. But at the same time, it's not real. The guitar player is not hitting those chords. The drummer is not sweating in the garage, going over every single beat. And the bass player is not arguing with the guitar player about why he shouldn't do this or that in a good way. So those days, I don't know if they're over, but I think it's causing rock to become just computerized, and just like the music that rock and roll, you know, I wouldn't say bowed to, but was kicked out to. You know, the Backstreet Boys and all that type of poppy music that was all computerized. And rock's kind of fell into that, I guess, area of where you're just, you kind of hearing it now. So hopefully they can go back to grassroots, garage band type bands that are just coming out and just with just natural sounds, authentic lyrics, authentic sounds, things that they came up with. And that's all the great music has ever been. Obviously, music's all studio at one point where they get you in the studio, but it's just not taking the guitar out of the guitarist's hand, taking the microphone out of the singer's hand, taking the bass out of the bass player's hand. And again, the drummer was getting the drums taken out of his hand. And I think the more rock went on into the 2000s, and even now, I think the whole music industry, you know, you could just put prop drummers in there now, prop guitar players, you know, prop bassist, and you can put together a great album, but it just doesn't seem authentic. That's my take on the music industry. I'm going to get back to it a little more and talk about some tours and bands in future episodes. But I saw this Billy Corgan interview, and there's other interviews out there. You gotta watch some of them. You just YouTube Billy Corgan. He's one of the only artists I've seen. You know, there's others that have come out and really got into it and talked about what happened. He was right in the middle of the 90s when that grunge came in and everybody sounded different. And it was just kind of strange how it just came to a halt. But we'll be back with our next segment. We're going to do another dive into the fraud. LA, wild cigarettes and dollars for signatures. We'll be back with segment 2. I'm going to pick up on this LA fraud that's been going on. It's funny to listen to some of these people say that it's not real. It's this propaganda that's fake. I mean, all the homeless people on Skid Row are a prop. All the people that are getting money to have them sign the petition to vote is a prop. The guys that are doing the videos and the women that are doing the videos, some great names: Savannah Hernandez, James O'Keefe. James O'Keefe's put a lot of great stuff out. Some people don't like how he comes across, whatever. But what he puts out is usually right on. And just take a look why he's been prosecuted. He puts out stuff that people don't want to get out there. But he did great work here So did another guy. I'll play a clip of his as well, Savannah Hernandez. This fraud in LA is just, it's not just going on in LA, it's going on in a lot of other places. And it's a shame. This can be easily taken care of. Easily. I've seen so much footage of these NGO-run companies making millions and millions of dollars with people coming over with green cards from different countries that are running them and helping do this. It's wild. Just dig into it. Look for it. Look out for it. Don't just say this is fake. Make sure the video is not fake. These videos are real. And there's always fake stuff out there, which makes the real stuff come across as fake, but this is real. Undercover journalists dressed as a homeless person. 2 of them. It's just something that makes your jaw drop. And now the mayor of Los Angeles, the district attorney, and the governor, even Gavin Newsom, have put out statements that they are obviously against what's going on and they'll look more into it. Now let's see if they do something. I saw a video of James O'Keefe saying that he thinks they will. I don't think there's anywhere to run from this. You know, there's so much going on with fraud, and I'll get to other parts of it with the homeless, but let's roll the news clip of James O'Keefe going undercover on Skid Row, watching people get paid with cigarettes and only $1 or $2 for their signature. And these people have no idea what they're signing. They just want their next fix. They want a cigarette and they want a couple bucks. Roll the clip of James O'Keefe.
Cash exchange for ballot signatures and registration forms. Tell us more.
So in the nearly half-hour video, independent journalist James O'Keefe and his team are seen posing undercover on Skid Row in Los Angeles, all in an effort to expose election fraud, including what appears to be people being encouraged to use fake addresses to sign petitions and register to vote. From fake addresses to bribes, independent journalist James O'Keefe and his team recently went undercover along LA's Skid Row to expose election fraud in California.
After 9, they're going to give you additional 1 more to sign. After that 1 more, you get $3.
But what is that petition for? You know?
There's a petition for.
I do not know.
O'Keefe says in the nearly half-hour video, they captured 28 times state non-governmental employees encouraged the homeless to use fake addresses in order to sign petitions and register. Cameras, petitioners admitting they're paid between $7 and $10 per signature, but it is a federal crime to provide false information on a voter registration form or offer payment.
Now, because you haven't registered, I need to register you so I can get paid too. I'm paying you guys, I need to get paid.
The video also highlighting the LA Homeless Services Authority, who distributes federal money to Weingart Center, a homeless service in LA. A LASA employee being caught on camera directing people to where fraudulent petitioners were located and coaching plausible deniability.
Go to Skid Row and see if there's people out there with clipboards. Ignorance is no excuse for the law. But a lot of times I have to say I didn't know. I had no idea.
In response to the reporting, state leaders, including the first assistant U.S. attorney for the Central District of California, acknowledging what's being shown, writing on X, quote, "I want to assure the public that this DOJ, under the leadership of Attorney General Pam Bondi, will aggressively pursue anyone and everyone involved in violating federal election laws." The LA District Attorney's Office also responding to O'Keefe, "Our office received your complaint and will open a file for preliminary review." Plus, Governor Gavin Newsom, his office writing, quote, "Anyone caught engaging in this activity should be investigated and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law."
And I think that's staggering, right in your face. Those aren't actors. Those are real people. The only actors are the fake homeless people that are putting this information out there. James O'Keefe, the fake homeless person I'm talking about. The rest of the homeless people are real. So, why somebody would go and pay 30 actors, 40 actors to pretend they're getting cigarettes on Skid Row for their signatures, and then have Gavin Newsom put out a statement. He's a part of it too. The government's a part of it. The DA, the mayor, they're all part of it. So it's not a conspiracy. This really went down. Footage is real. The next clip I'm going to play is more footage of this, though. And there's some guys getting $20 per signature. This is admitted by this one fraudster. $20 a signature. Absolutely crazy. Roll the clip of the guy saying he gets $20 per signature. They actually confront this guy at a Target in this full clip. I'm not playing the full clip, but he gets a job. The actor that is filming this gets the job, shows up the next day, and it's sickening, actually. They treat these homeless people like they're nothing. And we'll get into the fraud on the homeless people after this clip.
So you did just give me some bullshit?
I gave my real name.
They want a paperwork, you give me fake.
They give you money. They ask you for ID, man.
Oh, easy money, huh? So I'm sorry, what do we got to do here?
Just sign. It's for billionaire tax.
And then what do we get?
$2
Per signature?
$2, no, $1 a signature.
Is it your business or you working for somebody
I work
else?
for somebody else.
Could I get your boss's information? Could I get a job or something?
Look, if you sign mine, I give the contact to the boss.
Meet Prince Clay. He is one of the many petition circulators that we found operating on Skid Row.
You'll give me the contact of the boss? You can't just do me a solid?
Well, yeah, here. I get $1.
For what?
You can meet me in the middle.
No, but what I'm saying.
You want, cigarettes?
How's this? How about I
use another fake name?
How about I pay you and you give me your boss's name so I can get a job, bro?
No, look, that's not how this works. Look, everybody that does this is felons.
Wait, everybody that does this is what?
It's felons.
Everybody that's collecting the signatures is a felon.
Felons. They're homeless people. It don't matter.
But if you're giving me $1, you got to be getting like 5.
I'm getting $20
per signature.
Yes, sir.
Holy shit!
I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah.
Let me work for you, dog. What's your contact info? I'll be out here tomorrow morning.
Yeah, oh hell yeah. Put your number on my phone.
Damn. I gotta learn how to make money like you, man.
Yeah, I got you, bro. I got you.
You're gonna be out here tomorrow?
Yep. 3:30 to 6.
Appreciate you so much,
yes,
dog.
Sir. I'm gonna text you. I'm gonna be waiting on you.
My name's Anthony, all right? I'm gonna send you a text.
Yep.
All right. Damn, that's crazy. So you make enough money doing this to afford this Tesla?
Yeah, fortunately, yes. Okay, so look, all you gotta get is a first and last name, signature. Tell them any LA address with the city and the zip.
Any address.
Any address.
Doesn't matter.
It's gotta be LA County.
But they can make it up, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, they can make it up, but if I can't read it, I can't pay you.
Got it.
You
gotta
be telling me it gotta be neat.
What about the name? Do we gotta check an ID or anything? Or
no. Just as long as it's neat and it's a first and last name.
What if they write some bullshit though? It doesn't matter?
Nah, if they write some bullshit, you gotta scratch that out.
No, I'm saying what if they just make up a name? Like
make up a name.
How much do you pay them for the signature?
$1.
Or give them like $1.
I give them $1.
Okay.
Or sometimes with the pizza.
What works the best? Because I brought a little bit of money just in case.
$1.
Just give them $1 straight up.
Any junkie $1. Just say money for a signature. That's all you say.
Wait, say it again. What do you do?
All you gotta do is just say money for a signature.
Money for a signature.
If you're doing for $1, okay. If not, just say, you can lie. Say this is to build more homeless shelters.
Oh, just make up some bullshit.
Yeah. Just as long as they get their pen on that paper and sign their first, last name, signature, any LA address, city, and the city.
Throughout the day, we observed Prince Clay paying numerous individuals.
So then Anthony Rubin broke down more fraud. There's so much video out there. That was crazy how he got to admit $20 per signature, that it doesn't matter what address they put down. Put whatever. If you can't read it, scratch it out. Make him write it again. It's going down. It's undeniable. It's been going on for a long time. And kudos to these independent journalists, the Nick Shirleys, James O'Keefe, Anthony Rubin, and Savannah Hernandez. There's more of them out there that are going to risky situations to get the truth out there. And this stuff should be prosecuted to the fullest Anybody involved in this, has knowledge of this, making money on this, should be prosecuted to the fullest. And this is a democracy, and this is not something that should be taken lightly. But also, on top of that, you have to ask yourself, where is all the money going for the homeless? California has raised so much money for the homeless. Federal funding, state funding, city funding for the homeless. Where's all the money gone? It looks worse than it's ever looked. I've been to LA so many times. There are some sketchy parts of that area, yes, but it wasn't like that. It's not lined up, person after person after person. There was another time where there's kids in there, there's some illegals in there living in the tents now. I mean, it's just to the point where you got to say they're doing it on purpose. There's got to be some type of buyout. There's got to be some type of other avenue of this that everyone knows is going on, but no one wants to go down that street, because there's no way you can have a state like California, one of the most beautiful states, used to be, I should say, get this bad in a matter of 10 years. It started 20 years ago, but let's say 15 years ago, and then it just got double as bad in the last 5. So someone's got to do something about this. And people are starting to come out. I saw an interview of David Spade and member Garth from Wayne's World, and they kind of talk about what happened to the money for the homeless. So I'm going to end this segment with a clip from David Spade and Garth from Wayne's World.
People paying taxes in California when they're building $100 billion train to Sacramento, San Francisco area. Said, I don't know if everyone's clamoring for it when you could take $10 billion and probably fix a lot of problems in California. But they keep pushing this 10-year thing about the train. That's just one of the crazy things. The homeless, they lose $20 billion, but they want more money for it. Well, that's why people get tired of paying taxes and going, well, what are you doing? Gavin Newsom just vetoed a bill asking for an audit of where the money for homeless goes. He said, not a chance. You're not going to see that. That's
well, I don't think anyone
move.
could disagree with this. There are states, I don't have them offhand, who basically you go to their website and they tell you where all the money's going.
Yeah.
Line by line. Maybe it's thousands of pages a year, but you can see where it's going. So when he's behind the curtain, don't pay attention to Gavin Newsom, it's a little bit
just frustrating because you go,
Yeah.
you can't ask for more. I mean, if someone's if you're in a household and someone's blowing all the money, you go, what are you spending it on? Don't worry about it. Just give us more money. You go, well, I'd like to see something. And if it's fixing homeless, great, but don't just take it and then be like, homeless has gotten worse. You go,
it's like,
but you just
excuse me, Gavin Newsom, excuse me. Could we ask where the 20 billion went? Or
that's a great question, but no.
Garth, I'm sorry.
That was Garth asking?
It was Garth, a little bit of Garth. But
We're back with segment 3. Another tragic death in Chicago due to bad immigration policies, sanctuary city policies. There's ruthless people that came into this country. Is everyone that snuck in out of the 15 million, they say, are they all bad? No. Are there terrorists? Are there bad gang members from Venezuela, Ecuador, Africa, Senegal, you name it? They're all here. They haven't identified all of them. They haven't got them all out. They've gotten a lot of them out. But there's people here that they don't even know who they are. And when these sanctuary cities don't cooperate with federal authorities, this piece of shit who killed Sheridan Gorman, an 18-year-old girl just out for a walk with friends, walks up to her with a mask on and just shoots her. Point blank. And you ask yourself, why do they let all these people in our country? Why did the border just come wide open when Biden came in? And now there's no entries of Trump, but we got to clean up the mess that's inside. Now, are all the people that are immigrants, illegal immigrants here, bad people? No. I don't fault them for coming. If the doors were wide open and Biden's basically saying, come on in, you get a free phone, you get cash, why wouldn't you come? But with those people that maybe are here that aren't bad people, that came illegally, that a lot of them probably self-deported, the good ones, and a lot of good ones are probably hiding out, but there's a ton of bad ones. A ton. I mean, 15 million people came in. These countries kicked out the worst of the worst people. Why wouldn't they? If we can, you talk about Mayor Brandon Johnson talking about all these people in jail. If we can get rid of everyone that's in jail that committed murder, and just kick them out of the country, just funnel them out and start over their jail system, some other country will take them. I guaranteed we'd do it. That's what these countries did. That's why psychopaths like this piece of shit is walking around Chicago with a gun too. It's supposed to be hard to get a gun in Chicago. It's pretty easy for him. So, absolutely disgusting. This poor girl. I'm going to put her face up in a second after I play a clip, because I don't want her face next to this piece of shit. She didn't even know him. Why did that got to be tied together like they were spent significant time together? He murdered her. That's what he did. So I'll show her picture after. But I want to comment on, instead of fixing the problem, these deranged Democrats say the craziest stuff when something like this happens. They don't care about the victim. They just hope it's something that's not going to make their side look bad. I'm sorry, but the policies that you put out most of the time make your side look real bad. Whatever side you're on, either it's anti-American side or bought and paid for side, or who knows. But I know that growing up, Democrats never would put up with this or have a response like this. Roll the clip of this alderman, I don't know, district member, who gives a shit, but she's a politician in Chicago. And here's what she had to say after her first news of hearing about this. Roll the clip.
The kids were out doing normal things people do in the neighborhood. And it sounds like this might have been a wrong place, wrong time, running into a person who had a gun. They might have startled this person at the end of the pier unintentionally. But that's all we know. So,
I mean, I listened to her. It's like right off the bat, she takes the side of the killer. Like, kind of leaning in his favor without quite knowing what happened. Maybe he was startled and turned around and shot. Are you kidding me? Maybe he was startled and turned around and shot 3 children? Kids? A girl? Was trying to run away? She should be fired. She should resign. This is unheard of. So many lives have been lost due to illegal criminals Horrific crimes, too. Do crimes happen as well in this country? Yeah, of course. But why let criminals from other countries into our country to make the problem worse? And they're all in the sanctuary cities because they don't cooperate with law enforcement to help get them out. Now, this guy was arrested 2 times and had the opportunity to be deported, and he wasn't. Let him back on the street. Don't cooperate with ICE. It's a shame. This poor girl had her whole life ahead of her. And now she's not with us anymore because of some horrible politician, horrible judge, horrible mayor, horrible governor, terrible policies. And they're not dumb people that are making these decisions. Now, do I have proof of that? No. Are there a lot of illegal NGOs in Chicago? Absolutely. I've named some of them in my other episodes. But I grew up in Chicago. I know plenty of Democrats. And I know that if you asked somebody that's a Democrat, do you want criminal, illegal aliens in your city that murder people without any thought, no remorse? Do you want those people in your city? I can't see how they'd say yes. So then you have to look at your politicians and ask, why are they letting them in? Why are they harboring them? Why are the streets in Chicago full of illegal aliens with nowhere to go? I was just there. It was a lot worse before Trump came in. But just before he got in office, I saw people everywhere, all over the streets, laying by the buildings and all that. So a lot worse, almost unrecognizable. And I was just there the other day, and I saw multiple people with children laying around the streets, nowhere to go. So it's one thing to clean up the homeless problem, but it's another thing to add to the homeless problem. But I'm going to put this girl's face up on the screen. Everyone remember her when you think about open borders and sanctuary cities, because she's a victim of it.
The Wiley Wire segment where Brandon asks, "What the fuck is this?"
WTF segment. And this Senator Richard Blumenthal, I don't know where these people come from. I mean, if you're an employer and one of your employees is going around the office saying ICE is going to kill everybody at the airports, you probably shut it down a little bit, calm it down. We have a sitting senator, number one, that won't open TSA. He won't open the government. Anybody that votes to shut down the government is hurting the safety of the people. We need the TSA, and we don't have them. The Democrats won't vote to open the government. So what does Trump do? He puts ICE at the airports. And this is the tweet Richard Blumenthal puts up on X. It's over my shoulder. I'll read it if you're driving in your car and you're not able to see the video. ICE agents at airports will only aggravate delays in lines, disrupting checks, interrogating travelers, dragging parents from their children, detaining citizens, brutalizing families, shooting and even killing. Now, I checked if this was real because you never know. Doesn't seem like it is when you read it, that someone, even a Democrat, would say something so stupid and gaslighting. But you have to check it. And he wrote it. It's still up on his X account. Why are you telling the American people that if ICE is at the airports, they're going to shoot and even kill families, brutalize families, detain citizens? Why would ICE detain citizens? It doesn't make any sense. How many citizens have ICE locked up and put away not knowing they were legal citizens? Was there a mistake or two where they figured it out and didn't even detain them yet? Maybe. Have they shot and killed people? Not many. A couple. And they were Americans because they tried to kill the ICE officers. It's like, that's what they're supposed to do. If someone pulls a gun out at them or tries to run them over with their car, that's what happens. When I played the Chicago police chief, say the same thing. If you impede law enforcement or ICE by boxing them in, running them down with your car, pulling a gun out at them, you're most likely going to get severe repercussions, maybe even death. Now, when you're going to the airport, I don't think you should be boxing ICE in, pulling a gun out. We're confusing, Mr. Blumenthal, legal families that are there to go on vacation for spring break and illegal aliens that are getting deported. And for you to write that and gaslight like that, it's unbelievable. You're putting all of our ICE agents that are doing this because you guys shut the government down at risk. It's absurd. It's borderline mental. And this should be somehow prosecuted. A senator that's supposed to be representing the people, representing his district, is telling everyone representing the country that you're going to get killed if you travel by ICE agents. I mean, you can't even make it up. But it goes back to what I've said in multiple episodes. They got to be being paid off. Someone had to have told him to write that. He's definitely not a senator, in my opinion. This is my guess, because he's definitely not a senator that's making, call it $170,000 a year his whole career. He's never took advantage of anything. He's not worth billions of dollars or millions of dollars, or he's just riding that normal senator salary out, would write something like this. This has bought and paid for all over it, because I don't think he's that dumb to write that. Even if I'm a Democrat, Independent, Republican, obviously everybody knows from watching these episodes, I definitely lean toward Republican. Independents don't have a chance at winning, and I can't even touch on the Democratic line. It's completely gone. The RFKs are gone. They're no longer Democrats. If you have any common sense, you're not a Democrat, and you're probably bought and paid for and not in Washington to represent the people. So this has bought and paid for all over it. Some NGO made him do this. I don't think he's that stupid. I wouldn't write this post of fear of getting fired from my employer. I wouldn't write this post just because it's dumb. And I definitely wouldn't write this post if I was a senator in the United States government. For the sports segment today, I'm going over my pick for the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Every year, anybody that knows me, I always pick Duke. And last year I thought they should have won it. They clearly had the best team. Cooper Flagg was the best player in the tournament. They just blew that game last year. I don't even want to think about it anymore. This year, Duke's off to a great start. That first game tested them a little bit. Their second game, they won pretty easily. In the Sweet 16 now. Go Duke. Why I like Duke. I'm a Chicago guy. Some people don't realize this. I'm in the Carolinas now, but there is a small pocket of Duke fans in the Chicagoland area. Coach K grew up there. He grew up miles from my house, went to a high school called Weber High School that's no longer in existence, but it was all throughout my high school days. And everybody knows Coach K in the Chicagoland area, especially the Northwest side. That's why I'm a Duke fan. Go Duke. I also want to touch base on Reebok is just giving out contracts to a lot of people. Angel Reese got one. Bryson DeChambeau's got a massive one. But then they just gave one out to Darius Acuff Jr. I don't know how much it was. I was kind of digging through it, but they say it's a pretty large amount. He's not supposed to be the number one pick. I think people are saying he may not even go top 5. Reebok's spending the money. So I'm interested to see what their shoes are going to look like. The last good Reeboks I remember were probably the Allen Iversons. Shaq obviously was Reebok. There's been some good Reebok shoes back in the day. I'm glad they're making a comeback. Some of the old nostalgic brands are coming back, and the whole 90s thing is so back in style now. Everything's 90s. If you go to look at the hats for sale, they're all those old 90s or big hats, big, it says whatever, bowls, real big. Just look at 90s videos of like the Jordan era. All that stuff right now is like the hottest stuff you can get. We'll be back with our next segment and our wrap. Thanks for watching episode 21 of the Wiley Wire. Just a note, we're not going to do an episode on Friday. I'll be traveling again, working on the podcast. But next week, we'll be back to our normal schedule. 2 episodes a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. Thanks for staying wired. Thanks for watching. And follow us everywhere at The Wiley Wire. We'll see you next time.
The Wiley Wire dives into sports, music, politics, health, and trending topics for entertainment, info, and education. Listener discretion advised. May include mature themes, explicit language, controversial views, or sensitive content. Not suitable for under 18 or all audiences. Parents, please supervise. All opinions from hosts, guests, and contributors are personal and don't reflect our official views. Information isn't guaranteed to be accurate. Do your own research and consult qualified professionals.